you are handled and treated a different way. Women or black women are passed over more frequently for promotions. Is it because she's not qualified, or you just didn't like the delivery of a message, or you thought maybe you were going to be able to handle her a certain way and she spoke up against it?
Right.
All of those can be, I would say, contributions to what we experience in the workplace. Not just in the workplace. I've seen it happen in the church as well, amongst clergy, where women are bypassed, or again, we are tone policed or controlled, manipulated, and you just can't help but wonder if, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, if part of why we are treated the way we are treated is because of how some black men in power have treated us for centuries. So I don't think it's all just because, we're black. I think that black men have failed us to some degree in terms of how they support us in those spaces.
I've been seeing a lot of articles about that. Do you think black men, they support us?
I think some of them support us. I think others may not know how to support us. And that's a space, if I'm transparent, I am conflicted in and frustrated in as well, because I know a lot of brothers who are doing great things right now in the community. They're starting businesses and, entrepreneurs, and they're buying back the block and they're giving back in multiple ways. But some of those men whom I've supported have not supported any of my endeavors. They haven't shown up to a speaking event. They haven't shared a message on Facebook. Support can be in so many different ways. So I'm thinking that maybe some of them just don't know how to support us. It doesn't mean you get a pass. It means I need you to discover how to support us and start doing it.
Is that a form of narcissism like the black men have? It's like, because they expect you to rock with them, but when it's time for them to rock
I think they just need to get over themselves. I don't even think
time to go.
I don't even know if it's narcissism. I just think they need to get over themselves.
Okay.
And some of it is just ego. And let's face it, their egos are fragile, but they definitely need to get over it and show up, be present, and do right by us.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of articles in that because I had in here like black women, they're on the front lines, we're marching, we're being a voice. And also, there's it's a big wave of like femininity and things of that sort. And they're always kind of, when you do see someone fighting against racism, it's always a little chocolate, dark-skinned black girl or something like that that's like in the forefront fighting for America. And it's like, well, why is it, why has it got to be us? And I'm still trying to wrap my head around the narrative, but I understand that they just see us like, the strong black woman. We don't really need as much support because we're strong. But it's really like you kind of have to be if you're by yourself and you're in this world by yourself. You have to learn how to manage and maintain by yourself if you don't have anybody supporting you. And I just don't understand why guys just don't get it. A group of them just don't get it.
You all right? They'd be like, you all right? You good?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that for years, for centuries, generations, there was a point in time where they could not protect us or support us. I like to think that many of them may have lost their lives standing up for us. So part of it may be fear. Part of it may be lack of understanding. And then let's face it, you have that population who just don't care to know or understand or do anything different, because different requires you to stretch and it requires you to change. And it requires you to be accountable and to be vulnerable and to execute and to be raw and transparent and sometimes bear all. And for so long, black men were not given that space to do just that and be accepted in it. So some of it I even contribute to like toxic patriarchy in our community. We don't really talk about it, but Black men have not always had healthy relationships with the Black men in their lives.
No.
Just like Black women haven't always had healthy relationships with the mothers, the grandmothers, the aunties, the cousins in their lives. So part of it is just not knowing and not understanding. But because now you have the freedom to support us and stand up for us, I need you to do, again, different and better and start being present. And if you're going to have a conversation with me about that, I need you to know, brother, you're going to get that fire every single time from me, because I need you to do better and step up and not use the excuse of like poor behavior, poor judgment, and not knowing as a crutch.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
What if you had about we'll say about 3 things to tell someone, to tell a guy how, you know, they should step up, or ways they could if they're listening. You guys should be listening. What would it be? Just so, like, this is how I portray that Black women need support in the community. This is how you can do better.
Nina?
Okay. First of all, don't talk about it, be about it.
All right.
If you are really asking me how to be better, be open to that and listen to understand, and don't listen to rebuttal, and be accountable in whatever the next steps are. It might be show up to an event. It might be present with me in this conversation. It might be, hey, can you share this? Can you like this? Do you know any other women or brothers who would benefit from this service that I provide? But when it's time for us to be there for each other, be there. And don't, I'm tired of this sugarcoating and us always trying to talk about it. No one's that dumb in the world. There's only so much talking we can do before I'm looking at you like, take action.
Yeah.
So I'm really at that point where I just need them to show up and do it and stop talking about it. If you talk a good game on Facebook, but when it's time for us to be like boots on the ground, and you bow out in cowardness or whatever it may be, or it's uncomfortable, I'm looking at you sideways now.
Yeah, it's a turn off for me. I'm like, I can't take him seriously.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I don't take you seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think now? How would they? It's like, you know, and I've seen it online. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and read forums about it. A lot of Black women agree that we're not protected, you know, and they really don't come to our defense as much and things of that sort online. Thank goodness, you know, things are coming full circle for Breonna Taylor and things of that sort. But how do you think the message is getting across?
In terms of them
just stepping up and saying, you know what,
protected.
we need to do better by our women.
So I think this is a good question to ask even a panel of women if they are tuned in. Do you feel protected when you are in a crowd of Black men, or do you feel it necessary to guard yourself because you don't feel safe? I, as a Black woman, I don't always feel safe when I'm in the presence of Black men, depending on how those men conduct themselves. Are they getting the message? Many of them are not, if I'm being honest. At least
emotionally intelligent.
They're just not there. And I know it takes them a little longer to mature and for it to click. But it does need to start clicking at
a little bit more often.
some point, and a little sooner before you hit that 40 mark. Like if you could do it in like late 20s, early 30s, that would be great. And if you can get it before then, we'll take it. Right. But I need it to start happening a little sooner.
Yeah. Do you think it's because of the absentee father?
How long do we use that as an excuse, though?
Right.
And you use someone not being there to not evolve. Because if the dad was there, but didn't know how to be a dad in that role, you could still
use it
have
as an
struggles
excuse.
and use that as an excuse. I think part of it is being set in their ways and, again, not getting over themselves. This is not to come for the black man. I think that in some instances, black women should get over themselves too. There's plenty of that to go around, but I don't think it's always an absentee father issue. Some of them just don't want to do better. And if you're dealing with a person like that, you have to take it for what it is.